Before I start, let me quickly call for an opening prayer and we'll do the introductions. And I want to invite someone that is filled with the Holy Spirit to do that right now. And there's no other person here that I feel is qualified than Pastor Joseph Economy.
In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Our Father and our Lord, the honor of heaven and earth and under the earth, the fullness thereof, the giver of life, we bless your name, Father, we honor you. We bow before you because we know that you are the only God. We thank you, Father, for the gift of life, for the gift of a new day. We thank you, Father, for all the wonderful and good things that you keep doing in our lives by your mercy. We say, Father, may your name be praised in Jesus' name.
Amen.
As we gather here, Father, it is to the improvement of our prayer. We ask, Father, whatever we discuss tonight, ultimately will lead to the betterment of Akwa Ibom people and to the glory of your name. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Thank you very much. May I quickly introduce the Chief
Where is my
of the
notepad
Government
and all
of
those
Akwa
things?
Ibom
Where are
State,
you?
the Commissioner for Information, Dr. Nekan Omana. The Honorable Commissioner in the Ministry of Finance, and of course the Supervisory Commissioner, Ministry of Special Duties and Emergency Port, is Mr. The Commissioner for Women Affairs, Social Welfare is also here, put hands together for Honorable Mrs. Olivia Silas. The Chief Image Maker of the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, the CPS to the Governor, Mr. Kenneth Udo. Current Secretary, the Ministry of Information, Chairman, International President of Akwa Ibom, Akwarawa, Elder James Edith,
On night.
and of course, the rest are all gentlemen of the press who all know themselves. So, round of applause for all of you. You're all welcome. Without much ado, we will invite for the tone setting the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor.
Good morning, gentlemen of the press. I think because time is fast spent and we have a very important event now. So I'm going to rest on the protocol that Dr. Doiso has so wonderfully established. One of the defining features of American democracy is the constant update in real time of the government activities and across sectors, so that when lacuna in information management can be bridged. And these presentations mostly are done by the managers and the White House. And so we want to commend His Excellency, the Governor, for establishing this platform so we can present the scorecard in real time so the people of Akwa Ibom State can accurately and in real time understand what's going on. Today, in furtherance of that approach, we have here gathered the Honorable Commissioner for Finance and Deep Support of the Special Duties, Deep Support as well, the Honorable Commissioner for Women Affairs, and I'm told the Honorable Commissioner for Health is on his way. So together they will present an update on the great works His Excellency is doing across the various ministries in line with the critical pillars of the RISE agenda. To any dispassionate mind, and I'm emphasizing that keyword, dispassionate mind, there is no doubt that the governor has done pretty well across all the key pillars of the RISE agenda. And I know that you, my colleagues, the gentlemen of the press, that you will tell the continuously and continually the Akwa Ibom story of exceptionalism, anchored again on the enabling ideals of the RISE agenda, and His Excellency's passionate commitment to ushering in the golden era. And so, without much ado, and we're taking much of your time, I welcome you to this monthly you so very much, and at this time, I yield the microphone to the Honorable Commissioner for Information.
Thank you very much. That was the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor of Akwa Ibom State. Eloquently setting the tone for this briefing. We are now being joined by the Honorable Commissioner in the Ministry of Health, and now, of course, me that as a protect and much ready. We all know that this is a very important assignment, and it's going to be very engaging. You have the opportunity of getting the managers of the different sectors of the financial economy and feel your question. And of course, wherever they were, we wanted much more clarifications. Those who know it all are all here. So to get this event started, let me invite the Honorable Commissioner in the Ministry of Information, Dr. Anita.
Now people will go first. Thank you so much, and good morning all. The Honorable Commissioner for Finance and Concomitant Commissioner for Special Duties and Ibom Deep Seaport, MMBOB. But for today, he is here as Commissioner for Finance. There will be a separate day for special duties. And we have to our right, to my right, the Honorable Commissioner for Women Affairs. And you know, they own the moment, and they're all over the state, sensitizing women, mobilizing women, and sooner than later, they will be playing host to the biggest woman in the country. That is the #1 mother of the nation, Her Excellency, the wife of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Like you had the governor announce yesterday at the Covenant service that the state will be playing host to the First Lady of the nation. And my colleague and brother, the Honorable Commissioner for Health, who is a very good friend of the press, is here this morning, the Chief Press Secretary, and representative of various media organizations that are here. I can see that we are fully flagged right here before me. I can see Channels Television, Arise, DBN, TVC, Spectrum, AKBC, NTA, and everyone is here. So we're happy to, AIT, and so on and so forth, the live stream team. We're happy to have you all. Thank you so much. I've seen the chairman of the Correspondent Chapel, the Federated Chapel, the AUJ chairman is represented, is not in the state. The secretary is here. So we're happy to have all of you. And welcome to the conference room of the Government House Press Center. CPS, thank you for that tone setting, for getting this going. And this is going to be a monthly ritual. And please feel free to ask whatever questions you have, particularly in the areas of the briefing, so that we can at least shed more light on the things you want to know. So, gentlemen of the press, as we present the February edition of our monthly media briefing, we do so with a deep sense of responsibility and appreciation for the steady, visionary, and audacious leadership of His Excellency, Pastor Umar Eno, PhD, Governor of Akwa Ibom State. In just 33 months, the administration of Governor Umar Eno has not only articulated a clear developmental pathway through the Arise agenda, but has pursued it with courage, compassion, and measurable results across key sectors of the development of Akwa Ibom State. In the last 1 month, specifically speaking, the state has been a construction site. You're all aware. Contractors had returned to site late last year with the coming of the dry season, and with the humongous release made to contractors of over 150 billion at the time to enable them get back to site. Everywhere work is going on in the state, in the surrounding, even around this complex and buildings. If you go around, you'll see the serious ecological remediation work, and the serious erosion control work, and the parameter road network within this government house complex, and of course the remediation that saved this structure. The whole of this government house, if you go to the side, you will see the depth of the gully that is being reclaimed and rehabilitated at that point. So, in February, as you know, even though we're briefing you on the 3rd on the 2nd of March, but this is for February. And as you know, February was a very busy month, and it ended on the 28th, so we didn't have all of the time. We ran into the weekend, so we thought we should bring this to Monday. So during the month of February, so much work has been going on, and I'm sure you've seen the rehabilitation of roads, the pothole, the fight against potholes in Uyo Metropolis, all 83 locations, and the reconstruction of Akwa Ibom Street. When there was a huge cry at the time about it, and the governor kept assuring the people, don't worry, allow us get into the dry season, you will see work. And I'm sure a lot of you have seen what is going on in the state. The rehabilitation, the pothole, the fight against pothole has been very, 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 very much active. And like I said earlier, the reconstruction of Akwa Ibom is ongoing. The road is totally reconstructed. It's not just about potholes. You're also aware of the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding for the management of the Rice Palm Resort, which took place last weekend. Of course, that will include the Boom Hotels and Golf Resort, and of course, the franchise arrangement MOU for the management of the 4 Point by Sheraton Hotels in Ikore, Benin. In the same month, under review, His Excellency, the Governor of the state, and as a compassionate father, presented a 3-bedroom bungalow and a 7 self-contained apartment to a family at Atabong in Eket, whose house was gutted by fire. You remember what happened at that occasion, and luckily the beneficiaries are one of you, the correspondent of the TVC, that their home got gutted by fire. So in the spirit of His Excellency's compassionate governance, a new building, in fact, far, far, far better than anyone would have imagined, was handed to that family. This is in addition to the compassionate homes that is being built all across the state, 335 so far out of the target of 500 units in the first 4 years of the 8 years administration of His Excellency, the Governor of Akwa Ibom State. I'd like to say here that February also presented the state with an opportunity to put out the facts on the battle to ensure that the wealth of this state is not tampered with. Only last week in this same hall, there was a briefing by the Honorable Attorney General and other top lawyers and some of us who were here presenting the facts of the ownership of the oil wells that belong to Akwa Ibom State. And of course, I want to assure you, like His Excellency the Governor did say, that he's leaving no stone unturned to ensure that what belongs to Akwa Ibom State is rightly protected. And this is to reassure the people that there's no cause for alarm in using the Governor's term, no cause for alarm. He's doing everything to ensure that the wealth of the state remains preserved. Beyond what has happened in the last 1 month, which is part of this last month's briefing, progress has been made by the administration of His Excellency Governor Moino in several ways and several areas since the inception of this administration, and this progress continues to gather momentum. Agricultural revolution and rural development remain fundamental pillars of the progress. Through the Ibom model farms, the Arise Home Farmers Scheme, the Back to Farm Initiative, the food security programs, have been sustained provision of inputs to farmers. Government has repositioned the agricultural sector as a viable economic driver rather than just running at a subsistence level. Rural communities are experiencing increased productivity, improved income, and of course, renewed participation of young people in agribusiness. You can see that from the various testimonials of those who have imbibed this agenda and are also developing their farms at various levels. The free food distribution program of the administration has so far hit over 600,000 households in terms of distribution, and the next phase will soon commence. Like you did say here during the budget signing ceremony. The next phase of the food distribution will commence likely during the Easter to ensure that the vulnerable, the government continues to reach the vulnerable while encouraging them to engage in agriculture more than anything else. Massive rural and urban infrastructure expansion has further been deepened. And of course, that has deepened the impact of rural development within the last 33 months. With over 1,200 kilometers of roads constructed and ongoing with about 32 bridges, either delivered or ongoing, communities are now better connected, and of course, markets and products can come out of rural areas a lot easier. Schools, healthcare facilities, and so on and so forth are ongoing in different parts of the 31 local government areas. These projects are designed to stimulate commerce, reduce travel time, and expand economic opportunities across the state. Of course, you know about the eco-friendly CNG mass transit scheme, which is on the way. 50 buses already have been ordered. I think we're expecting the first batch to come in this month. And of course, the second batch will follow through. And the construction of the CMG terminal, it's ongoing. The work is going on at the speed of light at that place. And that's why I said that the whole state has become a construction site. And to this thing, the pastor that preached yesterday at the covenant service made this very clear, that everywhere he goes, everything at Akwa Ibom has become a huge, huge, huge construction site. Beyond physical infrastructure, the administration has strengthened institutional and financial governance. The approval and implementation of the Treasury Single Account, the TSA, and luckily the TSA administrators here, the Honorable Commissioner for Finance, and of course our counterpart in the digital economy space will be here to shed more light on this. This is all designed to block leakages and improve fiscal discipline within the financial ecosystem. Digitization of government processes is advancing across ministries and departments and agencies, modernizing procurement processes and systems, streamlining employment procedures, and strengthening the overall data management architecture of the state. All of this to the credit of the focused administration of His Excellency Pastor Umano. These reforms are laying the foundation for a more accountable, I underline, more accountable, technology-driven and performance-oriented public service within the Akwa Ibom state government. In the area of workers' welfare, you are aware of that over about 80 billion naira so far have been paid in terms of outstanding gratuities and backlogs of about 111 billion from 2012. So as we speak, the figure has come to about 80 billion naira in the last 33 months. 80 billion paid, 80 billion paid already out of 111 billion. So the intention is to bring it to par so that it will now be running on a month-by-month basis. The implementation of the 80,000 minimum wage and consistent payment of the 13-month salary day number underscores the fiscal responsibility and compassionate approach of governance by His Excellency Governor Omano. The recruitment of the 4,000 new workers, 2,000 specifically for my brother and friend, the Honorable Commissioner for Health, the biggest beneficiary, of course, out of essence, it's ongoing. And that has went on through the CBT exam and the interviews that followed. But we must not also forget that in all of the people that took the CBT exam, His Excellency the Governor of Akwa Ibom State released over 1.4 billion to take care of their transportation logistics at 50,000 naira each for all of the people who attempted that exams, where only about 12,000 pre-qualified and scored the required percentage that allowed them to move to the next stage. Healthcare reforms have been transformative. You are aware of the 31 primary healthcare centers being built across the 31 local government areas in the state. And of course, this is supported by the expanding health insurance scheme, which today, I'm sure the Honorable Commissioner will give you the exact figures, but we know that it's over 180,000 enrollees, generally speaking. General hospitals have been renovated, new facilities, and also some were commissioned brand new, like Okanafon, new facilities constructed, emergency services strengthened, improved working conditions for healthcare professionals, recruitment of even retired healthcare professionals to support and boost the manpower within the healthcare sector. And all of this is including strategic investment in infrastructure enhancement and capacity building and public confidence in our healthcare delivery system. Education remains a top priority, with of course the 31 model schools across the 31 local government areas. Several have been commissioned, a few others are nearing completion, and all of those will follow. And of course, the 121 projects of SUBEB so far done across different local government areas. Sometimes we tend to forget that it's also the state government fund that's costing all of those interventions through SUBEB in various schools. This year alone, over 1,000 schools have been captured for rehabilitation across the state under SUBEB, and this will go a lot of money from the state government. The free education policy, it's ongoing, payment of bursaries, examination fees, of course the trust funds for students living with disabilities, and consistent subventions to schools are reducing financial barriers and improving learning outcomes for our students. School enrollment is increasing by the day, and if you get to our model primary school, the new ones delivered by His Excellency in various local government areas with fully computerized laboratories, ICT labs, learning areas, sick bay, everything that you can find in any modern school, including teachers' accommodation. There is an upsurge of the population in these schools that some of the schools we visited, the head teachers made it clear that they are unable to meet the demand for enrollment and so on. And the parents are even saying whatever it is, even if they have to stand, and they're saying to them, no, there's a limit to how many children you can take in a particular class. This is as a result of the infrastructure renaissance that we're experiencing in these schools. Youth empowerment and humanitarian programs reflect the compassionate core of the ARISE agenda. Of course, the unemployment benefit that the administration started to youth, and of course the first payments that were made to all of these people, to over 1,500 young entrepreneurs, and the training of over 10,000 youths and youths in various SME programs and empowerment of same that have been going on in the state through the DASAC Center and Ibom-led. All of this have added to the human capacity development and building of the state. Strategic investment projects like the 18-story Ibom Towers in Lagos is going on, and that's a strategic investment to recover moribund assets that the state almost lost. Ditto for Abuja, where Ibom Hotels will replace the old moribund liaison office in central area, which at a point, I must say this, we didn't even know that we did not even have papers or documents. We assume we own properties, but we had nothing to reflect that. But His Excellency, the Governor, has pursued all of this and gotten proper titles for all of these assets and gotten Akwa Ibom to now truly become owners of these assets that we had in our imagination without really holding or owning anything. So we need to appreciate His Excellency for pursuing these assets and ensuring that they truly belong to Akwa Ibom State, and they are now being transformed, and some are in the process of being transformed into recoverable investments. All these interventions are encapsulated within the framework of the 85, all these interventions notwithstanding, as encapsulated, but we also have a framework of 85 priority projects under the ARISE agenda. These are different from the road projects that we mentioned, different from health centers, hospitals, and so on. Right now, 85 priority projects, and so on. If you add some other new ones, and then you can get up to 86, but that collectively represents structured cross-sectoral transformation and strengthening of institutions, expanding infrastructure, deepening transparency, and empowering citizens, and protecting also the vulnerables. The measurable impact of the administration in the last 33 months evident in restored public confidence, improved service delivery, enhanced revenue management, and tangible developmental projects across the 31 local government areas of the state. The progress recorded so far remains bold, deliberate, and people-oriented, and people-focused, if you like. It reflects leadership anchored in vision, leadership anchored in discipline, leadership anchored in innovation, and leadership anchored in compassion. As we continue this journey, we will reaffirm our commitment, and particularly the commitment of His Excellency, the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Pastor Omoeno. He reaffirmed this commitment himself last night at the covenant service, reassuring Akwa Ibom people that he will leave the dictate of what the mandate given to him by the people of Akwa Ibom State to lead them. And by the grace of God, he will lead them through his 8 years tenure and continue to deliver the goods for the greater prosperity of the people of Akwa Ibom State. I want to thank you so much for listening to us. We just needed to do a quick recap and an overview to lead you into part of a very big story, of the last 33 months, which there's no way we could have condensed this story to a 10-minute presentation. But we just thought we should create a mind opener for you. So next, we will be listening to some of our colleagues who would now say to you what has happened in their sectors and what is going to come next. So we will start with the Honorable Commissioner for Women Affairs, Honorable Mrs. Inibere Silas Echugudo. Madam, you're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, gentlemen of the press. In the Ministry of Women Affairs that we are managing for the government of Akwa Ibom State, we are pleased to share the accomplishment of the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Welfare under this administration of Pastor Omobasieno, highlighting our commitment to women empowerment, child protection, and social welfare across the states. Empowerment and social development this administration has prioritized women empowerment and social development. Key interventions include launching women empowerment programs such as skill acquisition, grants, and cooperative supports. Inauguration of a Rise Women structure in all the 31 local governments. This structure is to help the women gather themselves together to achieve whatever His Excellency has in this administration for them, like the one I've already mentioned, the cooperative. Because it's not easy for government to touch people individually, but it is very, very key to touch them through cooperative. And that is what Ministry of Women Affairs has been able to do in the grassroots to enhance them key into the dividends of democracy of this administration. And of course, this administration have done a lot through Ministry of Women Affairs, renovating and furnishing government children's home. No, it is a duty of government to take care of these children, the vulnerable children, those children that have been thrown away on the streets. And we are not just doing this in the city alone. We go into the grassroots, we go into the remote areas to make sure that we gather these children that are roaming the streets, these children that are not, that we don't know their parents, and they are all brought into the homes that His Excellency has provided for them. Some of them, through the intervention of the policemen, through the intervention of the other agencies that intervene from child trafficking, where they were captured to, they will bring them back to Akwa Ibom State. It might interest you to know that some of these children are intervened at the borders of Nigeria and other countries, and they will bring them back to us. So this is what His Excellency is doing, training many military staffs and community leaders and stakeholders on contemporary social issues, because these issues cannot be handled by only few staffs in the Ministry of Women Affairs. So we go out to train the stakeholders and other community leaders on how to step in when these cases arise, most especially the gender-based violence. We know sometimes it has been rampant. But thank God for the intervention of His Excellency for empowering us to go into the communities in the 31 local government to train even the traditional rulers to know how to intervene when such cases arise. Partnering with NGOs and development agencies to strengthen women-focused policies. You know, for instance, we are on the road going for sensitization every day. The moment I finish with you people, I'm heading to Ona, from Ona to Mpareni. We saw that women are less interested when it comes to civic responsibilities. You will see the men, the youth run around doing what they're supposed to do, but the women will be engaged in domestic issues. Until the D-Day, for instance, that of the voter cards, they may not care to look into where they kept these voters cards after voting in the last election. But the moment they are made to understand that tomorrow is election, that is when a woman will start searching for a voter's card. When did I keep it? We'll call this child, we'll call the other person. He may even call the husband. Come and show me, but it's not the husband that kept it for her. Because we are less concerned. Our duty is to fend for our children, our people, the husband, on every blessed day. So we are going out as the Ministry of Women Affairs. Thank God His Excellency has asked the Deputy Governor, whom we are so happy to have as number 2 slot of the women in Akwa Ibom State, to accompany us in this task. And the First Lady of Akwa Ibom State, that is the First Lady designate, in the person of Noble Lady Helen Obareki, to accompany us because of the gravity of what this means for women. You see, when we go out, the women are happy receiving us, and the men themselves are so happy to see that these women are coming out en masse because they are their strength when it comes to voting. They are their strength when it comes to whatever we are doing, even in the churches and in the markets. So that is the key of what we are going out to do, reminding them what to do, going to have their voters card. Some of their voters card has been spoiled and they will not know about it until they are told, no man, this voters card, you will not be able to use it during the election. Go and make sure that you have a change of voters card because the old one has been spoiled. And that one is even a bit understood to women. But when it comes to the issue of NIN, women do not really understand. What do I need NIN for? Am I traveling out of the state? Am I traveling out of the country? I am busy in my marketplace, so what would I need this for? If you must key into the policy of the cooperative that His Excellency is going to empower children, women through, every woman must have NIN to be able to access this benevolence of His Excellency. So we now went there to let them know the importance of NIN. And of course, I don't think we can do this briefing without mentioning a little bit of politics. And that has to do with when His Excellency crossed over to APC. What was the understanding of the women? Some of these women were like, oh, I am here. When it is the time of election, I will vote His Excellency because of his good work. But it will not work that way. If His Excellency is in the APC, all of us must be in APC to be able to back him up for what is doing. I heard the Commissioner for Information mention about our oil wells. We are the one that will back His Excellency for everybody in this world to know that His Excellency has a population that will be able to stand and defend what they have at any point and at any time. So we also go in there to let them know all of us must cross with His Excellency to the best party, the ruling party, the party that we are going to have whatever we want from government, and that is APC. So on the course of going round the 31 local government, that is what the women are doing, and I think I will so proud of my women. They are well educated, they are well informed, and they have also told the line of what we are telling them to do. And come 2027, Akwa Ibom State will have no doubt to return the en masse votes, the en bloc votes of whatever we have with INEC will be returned, because everyone is well informed. And again, we are partnering with NGOs and development agencies to strengthen this women-focused policy. And we are also establishing establishing committees and working groups, including the GBV I have already mentioned, for the elimination of these vices. Committees, the technical working group on alternative care for children, and the State Technical Committee for the Nigerian for Women Project. You will remember that some few days ago, we went to Rowanam, we commissioned Nigerian for Women Project. We went to Abak, we commissioned Nigerian for Women Project. And when we went to Ibesiko, we did the same. Those were the pivot areas for Nigerian for Women Project that we have just finished, that first phase. And very soon we are going to start the scale up. This is what His Excellency is still doing for the women, giving them empowerment. We have standard meals, oil palm meals, garri processing meals for these women. And these women form themselves into cooperatives and operate these mills, and they are having a lot of gains when it comes to this empowerment. And we are set to do it in the 31 local government, and that is what this administration has done for the women. We also collaborate with the UN Women to develop a strategic plan for the prevention of gender-based violence. Of course, we know that UN Women are very, very interested when it comes to women issue, and they do not want to see any issue of violence on women. That is why they come into the states and make sure that they collaborate with us. But above all we are doing in Ministry of Women Affairs in the states, I want to talk about our mother that the Commissioner of Information have mentioned about. Is coming into the state on Saturday, 7th March 2026, to join us on the grand finale of what the women are doing in Akwa Ibom State. She's told His Excellency that she's been following us and that we are doing a great work in this state. The sensitization is what every state should do, what every state should look up to. If we want to have a better state, if we want to have the women flow with us, if we want to have educated women that knows what is happening around us. When we are talking about education, we are not talking about going to classroom. It is very, very pertinent that a woman that is in your environment knows what is happening. And when they don't know what is happening, it becomes a problem, and it is very difficult to make sure that she is on it. The children, she is on it. And the elderly, she's been empowering the elderly persons with disability. And just last year, December, she had to give 200,000 to a lot of persons that has to do with the persons with disability and the elderly. The achievements of Her Excellency, the First Lady in Akwa Ibom State, when we talk about economic empowerment, she has provided grants, business tools, and startup support to farmers and small-scale entrepreneurs to strengthen economic independence and reduce poverty. Food security and support is also key. She has promoted home gardening and encouraging women and youth participation, agriculture through initiatives such as every home garden to enhance food production and sustainability. She supported the elderly, the widows, and other vulnerable persons in the state. Her Excellency has aligned with her Renewed Hope initiative, giving support to the elderly, widows, and other vulnerable persons in Akwa Ibom State. This has brought succor to these groups. And we want to look at advocacy, awareness, and public engagement. Leading campaign against harmful traditional practices and promoting women's rights at the grassroots level. This woman has been able to send in her agencies, her foot soldiers, to come into Akwa Ibom to lead this campaign. And she is so much particular about child care and protection. This the administration of Senator Ruremi Tinubu provides care for over 5,000 orphans and vulnerable children across the states, and enhancing child protection and legal support to safeguard children's rights in partnership with the Nigerian police and other security agencies. We can go on and go on again to enumerate what this woman has done. The empowerment of women, we have said, and not just women. When you are persons with disability, she does not discriminate. She does it for the women and the men. If you are an elderly, she doesn't discriminate. She does it across the gender. So our mother has done well in the States, and I pray that God will continue to help her to do more. Thank you so much for listening to us representing the Women Affairs.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, the Honorable Commissioner for Women Affairs, for that very detailed expose as to what His Excellency is achieving in the state through the Women Affairs sector, and of course the expositions to the office of the First Lady and even that of the First Lady of the Federation. We appreciate this collaboration. Thank you very much. Gentlemen, do you have any questions for the Honorable Commissioner for Women Affairs? Because she will be moving for the sensitization. We can take one or two so that she can leave. Please, Edon Sirikono, please, go ahead. Straight to the question. Say who you are and your question so she can take that. We will do this part in just 3 minutes of her so she can leave because their time is up for their departure.
Honorable Commissioners.
Thank you.
Honorable Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Welfare. The news that our First Lady will be visiting on Saturday is particularly heartwarming, and I'm sure that you're very proud. But when she visits, you know that there will be a lot of visitors that will accompany her. What are the optics? Are the people going to see the destitutes that are surging in number in the state? Yes. If you go through this,
I didn't see anyone.
Yes.
Please, can you ask your question straight? What is your question? You are talking about.
Yes, I was trying to lay a foundation to ask.
No, please ask your question. Ask your question straight, please.
To give us graphic details of what her ministry is doing to curtail the upsurge in the number of destitutes in the state.
That's straightforward. That's fine. Doing everything.
Thank you very much.
Government is doing everything to ensure that.
I have said that we are going into the local governments one by one to access the status and how our women are faring. And I have told you that His Excellency has put every machinery on ground to empower our women. So these destitute women very soon will become millionaires. Very soon. We cannot just go in to give them money. First of all, we must identify them. That is part of what we are doing. We go there, we give them forms to enroll. When they enroll, they send back to us, we will compute the data and we go back to them. That is why we took time to inform them. This is what must be done. And we use the chairman of local government and their wives to guide them, to make sure that they supply all the necessary information and get them to do their name and everything that would help them to access this money, because when you are talking about this, it means that they are so vulnerable that they cannot even feed themselves. But I think when His Excellency puts something into their hands, they will not be seen as destitute. So that thing has been taken care of.
Thank you very much. If it's a similar question, that's fine. Otherwise, we'll take one more. But to add to that, let me say this clearly on the issue of destitute and people on the street. The governor of Akwa Ibom said and made it very clear that it's not about clearing people on the street. It's about what are the issues. If somebody has a psychiatric problem, where are you taking the person to? If somebody has some symptoms of psychiatric problems, move them to the psychiatric hospitals. If someone has certain problems, or maybe they're into drugs and need rehabilitation, you identify this and take it. It's not just, so when you clear people, where are you taking them to? You are just recreating the problem. The governor was very clear, and that's what the ministry is doing. If you find somebody that needs psychiatric attention, is to move such people to psychiatric hospital, so that we don't run into the recurrence of saying you're moving destitutes from the road and it becomes a recurring decimal. No, it has a method. And the method is attend to people on the basis of need and the basis of care that will allow their rehabilitation or treatment. And that will continue to happen. We thank you so much. I think that is all for that. So we will allow the Honorable Commissioner for Women Affairs move and join Her Excellency, the Deputy Governor, and the Coordinator of the Office of the First Lady, so they can proceed to the local governments that they are sensitizing today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
So moving in that same vein, we will be requesting the Honorable Commissioner for Finance and his counterpart in the Science and Digital Economy to take the next stage, because he will also be leading for the women's sensitization. You can see how important this is. Everyone is involved. Honorable Commissioner for Finance, sir.
Thank you very much, Honorable Commissioner of Information. State. Let me especially recognize quickly all the commissioners that are here. Dr. Akwa Ibom, Science and Tech, Dr. Akwa of Health, and I had already acknowledged the presence of the Commissioner for Information. And then let me especially recognize the man that has made this possible, the Chief Press Secretary of the Akwa Ibom State government. And gentlemen of the press, permit me to go straight to the point. I will stay within the allotted time so that I can join my colleague. I'm posting them on our local government today, and it is important that I go there and ensure that everything moves smoothly. And media briefing of the government of Akwa Ibom State on highlight of the administration's accomplishments in resetting the financial management landscape of the state by the Honorable Commissioner of Finance. Gentlemen of the press, I want to start by saying that using the evidence-based assessment that His Excellency the Governor of Akwa Ibom State has justified every revenue generated in the state and what we receive from the federal allocation account to the development of Akwa Ibom State. And that is why you are seeing, as the Commissioner for Information had already highlighted, most of the projects that are going on in the state across different sectors, and even the payment that follows comes as a result of this. And let me say this for emphasis. His Excellency has clearly stated that he is not against borrowing, but he can only borrow for a specific project and when the need arises. And I can assure you that all the projects in the states are sponsored directly from what we receive from the federal allocation account and the revenue generated within the state, that is from Akwa Ibom State Internal Revenue Service. And that has been applied to most of these projects judiciously. And that's why we have the governor that we have today, being a very prudent governor. In order to reposition the state for better service delivery, the state government has reset the financial management landscape of the state with the following accomplishments. And I want to go into specifics for records, because this is a press briefing that you will now know exactly what to capture and now share with the members of the public, and as per how the resources accrued to the state are being utilized. One, ensure the complete clearance of all the inherited commercial bank debt with 39.831 billion, both principal and interest. And like I said, this is not to say that the government of the day will not borrow when he has the need to borrow from the bank, but what he inherited from the previous administrations, he has been able to clear them with all the commercial banks. And as we speak today, we have exited and we are clean. Deliberately reduce the gratuity backlog of retired state staff to the tune of 80 billion as at December 2025 out of 110 billion inherited. Yeah, he made this commitment during the campaign that is going to pay attention to clearing of the backlog of gratuities, and this he has kept to his word. And he's anytime from now is going to exit the backlog, and like highlighted by the Commissioner for Information, we are going to take it by the time the balance is exited. We will now be taking it on the month-by-month basis, and that shows the prudent management of resources by His Excellency, not even to borrow from any bank. He's spending this, he's paying all this, clearing this with what we have from the FAC and the internally generated revenue. Within a short time, surpassed return on investment for states government to the tune of 260 million as of June 2025, and grown portfolio from 6 billion to 10 billion. I have to tell you that this comes from the Ministry of Finance Incorporated. The shares that Akwa Ibom State has with various quoted companies. This administration has kept to faith, and when he came on board, he directed that we want to know what is happening to our shares. And within a very short time, as of last year, by June 2025, we recorded one of the highest returns on investment, up to 260.646 million was paid into the state's account as a proceed from the shares, the portfolios of the state. And it has always, and that's what we took over was 6.06 billion, and that has grown to 10 billion within the last 1 year. Prepared and presented and published the state financial statement annually to comply with the internationally accepted best practice in fiscal transparency. Of course, this shouldn't be overemphasized. The transparency of any government is to show or to publish the financial record or statement for the state, for the public, to see how the government applies and implements a budget. Ensures prompt payment of monthly salaries and pensions. As you are aware, salaries and pensions are paid promptly. Salaries are paid especially before now. Before 30th of every month. You notice that you are late. For those that are civil servants, you always receive this, and this is made possible by His Excellency Pastor Umar Basi Eno. And beyond that, the 13-month salaries are always is part of the thing that he has introduced during his time here. Conducts annual financial statements, assessment in the states, of which findings inform state pensioners. Verification is an implementation TSA. Now, you were aware of the assessment that His Excellency ordered that it should be conducted, and that this was anchored by Minister of Finance and Minister of Science and Digital Economy, and that saw to the unveiling of a lot of ghost workers. Carried out public procurement process auditing across MDAs to align with the accepted best practice and ensure value for money spent on procurement of goods, services, and works. Organize capacity building for sustainable procurement process in the states to equip states across MDAs on the accepted procurement procedures. Prepared and published annual debt sustainability analysis and quarterly debt profile, which usually qualifies the state in donor partnership eligibility criteria. Conducted staff and pensioners verification exercise, which has saved government from more than 3,000 ghost workers and created opportunity for new employment, which is ongoing. Secure the state's action for business enabling reforms drawdown to the tune of $3.5 million for the ease of doing business. His Excellency has also worked hard to secure a new map drawdown of €500,000 for the intervention in specific erosion sites and flood-prone areas in the states. Disbursed $321.8 million as staff housing loan to 212 civil servants beneficiaries. Repayment of the outstanding Afrexim credit to Ibom Power to the tune of $3 million out of $7.8 million of debt. So this has been there for so many years. Several administrations has come and gone. And we almost, like His Excellency said, we almost lost the asset, and through his intervention, that asset is assets of Akwa Ibom State. And today, he has gone ahead to pay down what was owed, so that that remains what the property of Akwa Ibom State. Providing good financial base through support for Ibom Air. That you understand, Akwa Ibom State is the highest, is the only financial of Ibom Air, and this he has kept to his word by supporting these operations. Ensuring fiscal discipline in budget implementation with only programs budgeted for that are being executed, resulting in over 85% budget performance. The performance of the budgets of the states year by year has always been on the northward, and that is made possible because of His Excellency's detailed involvement in budget preparation and implementation, having known what it means. That the good sign of governance is through budget implementation, and this has shown clearly by every assessment. Improve citizens to stakeholders' engagement in the budget process, resulting in 2025 and 2026 state budget being dominated by citizen-dominated projects. The current administration carries the citizens along, and over the years you've been seeing the governor involving the citizens, in nominating projects that are going to be beneficial to them, not necessarily allowing the state governor or the budget department or the ministry to put anything for the community, and that is what is being practiced everywhere. In developed world. Prompt payment of contractors for both inherited and ongoing contracts. His Excellency came in and instructed Ministry of Finance not to discriminate, and it should pay all the contractors as when due, because the project, the government is continuing, and because of that, whatever he came to see, he has kept to faith in clearing them and even to continue with the projects that he inherited. Prudent management of financial resources with substantive opening balance at the beginning of a new year. Yes, And His Excellency, let me just emphasize here, I will soon be done, that His Excellency has always been looking at the rainy days, and since he came into office, he has always been talking about savings. Most of the time, the budget year, as we open with a very, very good balances, and that has seen to the prudent nature of His Excellency, and most of those balances has to do with the savings that he has made. As we speak, the government of Akwa Ibom State, through the governor of His Excellency Pastor Moino, is not intending or planning to owe any contractor because we have the savings and we have the money to pay them. But just go ahead and do your work to complement the support received from the governor of Akwa Ibom State. Full implementation of treasury single account in the state, where all internally generated revenue from each MDS, local institution sources, are being paid through Akwa Remit platform to state TSA. Akwa Remit serves as a funnel that channels the paid revenue to the TSA of the state. This is a bold step taken by His Excellency the Governor. The previous government, they attempted it, but it was not in total. As I speak to you for the first time in Akwa Ibom State, His Excellency the Governor has brought in this transparency and accountability in revenue generation, internally revenue generation in the state. And this is now made possible by interagency collaboration. Minister of Finance is collaborating with Minister of Science and Technology, and of course the Commissioner is here. He will, when he gets to his turn to speak, he should be able to speak to the step-by-step that you need to know in order to effect payment through Akwa Remit. I think we have to commend His Excellency for this bold step, and God will bless him, because this is going to allow us to have more revenue to embark on various projects in the state. Please, can we put our hands together for His Excellency? So in conclusion, the financial management landscape of the state have been repositioned to continue in sourcing, custody, and funding the Arise Agenda programs of this administration and other activities. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Commissioner for Finance, Mr. Almon Bob, for that briefing on the financial management approaches and principles in the state. He has gone on to give us the financial outlay, of course, the financial engineering brought to bear by His Excellency the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Pastor Moino, which represents transparency, represents prudence, and represents efficient management of state resources. He's told us about a loan clearance to give the state a clean slate, and he's also told us about the assets recovery and protection, like in the matter of Ibom Power and the payment of the Afro-Exim bank loans that have secured that asset that was almost gone. And I'm sure a lot of you did not know this, but that's the situation. That asset needed to be taken and protected because it was almost gone. And he's told us about the TSA regime. So we thank you so much, sir, for the briefing. Do we have a quick question for him, because he will be leaving for now shortly for the women sensitization? Any question in the financial area, or maybe we allow Dr. Frank Ekwenyong to shed more light from the technology and financial engineering and the technology component that is making all of this possible, particularly the e-governance structure, the TSA, the Akwa Remit, which is similar to the remitter structure that allows the harnessing, and what he propounded, the one basket theory, during the presentation on the TSA. Dr. Frank. Yeah, yes. No, go on. Yes. Yeah, I will.
Thank you so much. First of all, I want to extend my...
Okay. Yes. All right. Thank you. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Okay. Your aim is coming. Thank you. When that is happening, check the camera to the audience. Yeah, he has done that. Yes, okay. And you okay.
Right, thank you so much. Apparently, Leonard has left the building. So, that's, yeah. Yeah, thank you. First of all, I want to extend my deep appreciation to His Excellency, the Governor, for the kind of leadership it's providing for the state. I think you can only give what you have. If you don't have it, you don't give it. If you don't imagine it, you cannot make it happen. So, thankfully, we have a governor at a time like this that is transparent and is seen to be transparent. Is doing everything to be transparent, and that's the reason why we are having this briefing. The Honorable Commissioner for Finance, before I stepped out, touched a bit on Akwa Ibom TSA. And perhaps it's a good time to just add more information on that. TSA, as we all know, is Akwa Ibom Remit as an Akwa Ibom remittance. Akwa Ibom remittance, similar to the federal government remitter platform. So this is huge. The last presentation we had, the meeting the governor called with all relevant MDS, we did an analogy, and perhaps this is a good forum to restate or perhaps mention that analogy one more time. TSA is like a funnel, right? And as you can imagine, all the different government agencies that are generating revenue are the taps. So they are the ones connecting to this funnel. And I called it a funnel that funnels all the money into a basket, but I was corrected by His Excellency the Governor. He sees it more as a pot, if you understand. So everyone contributes to the pot. So the funnel does the collection and goes into the pot so that we can all understand what the state is generating. So we have this single view at a glance, real time. We know exactly what the revenue portfolio of Akwa Ibom State is, and I think this is great. This is excellent. So we're so grateful for His Excellency for this initiative. So every ministry, I don't believe there's anything like ministries that do not generate. Every ministry generates funds. Even if you want to sell equipment that you no longer need, that money must go into TSA. So every ministry is a revenue generating ministry. So every ministry must be on TSA. We're seeing quite a lot of traffic on TSA, on Akwa Ibom, quite huge traffic. From Internal Revenue, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Lands, Ibom Airport. I mean, mention all the lot. So we're seeing good traffic, which is great. And for the first time, perhaps in the history of Akwa Ibom State, we can have this singular visibility into the kind of revenue the state is generating. And perhaps I should add more information. We're also getting really good data points. The way the system was modeled, His Excellency wanted to know that what kind of services we're generating. For example, let's consider the internal revenue. If you buy a new vehicle today, you must approach them. You must register the vehicle, right? Whether it's a brand new one, a private, commercial, whatever. So the way we've done with TSA, which was His Excellency's plan, you can pretty much know how many vehicles are bought in a month, in a year, which gives an indication of some indices on the kind of performance of what the Akwa Ibom State economy is doing. Step away from that a little bit. I go to my brother, the Honorable Commissioner's Ministry of Health, for example. You can see the number of paracetamol they're selling in General Hospital Ukanafun. You can see the number of amoxicillin, Nicolabasi, Netinan, and all that. So that analytics is huge, I tell you. And for him, he can perhaps proactively ask the question, how come they're selling a lot of amoxicillins? How come a lot of people are giving amoxicillin in Ukanafun? Perhaps, what is he telling him? And maybe he starts to understand. So that, away from revenue, is also giving that insight, for them to be able to proactively take decisions to help Akwa Ibom, citizens. So that is big. But there are a few things I want to say on TSA. If, for example, you're trying to pay for government service and the price is known, the price is fixed, you can go to akwaibomstate.gov.ng, say for the service, pay for it, take the invoice, to the ministry and demand the service, and they will verify the invoice and they will offer you the service. But if the service is a variable type service, i.e. maybe a payee, I want to pay my taxes, they're a bit more like complex computation to derive your tax, and you wouldn't stay alone to do that. I must approach the agency. In the case of a tax, internal revenue, they use their system to do it, and they still ask you to give you an invoice to pay via Akwa Ibom. So whether it's a fixed, whether it's variable, every payment goes through Akwa Ibom. But away from that, I think, again, I can't stop just commending His Excellency. Great job, I tell you, great job. If you look at the kind of traffic, we're getting, I think it's huge. I think it's really, really huge. What I will, sorry. What I will do now, maybe allow the TSA bit go through any question on TSA, because I thought I should take this opportunity and maybe sneak in a few more things. That is maybe not TSA. Perhaps maybe I'll allow you guys to ask questions on TSA, then maybe if my colleague would agree. Can I? All right, okay, thank you so much. So maybe let's sidestep TSA a little bit and go to the public servants portal. If you have access to your, I believe most of us here are public servants, whether political appointed or civil servants proper, you should have access to your accounts on the public servant. Starting today, we're beginning to do verification, and this is very important. I'll tell you the reason why. Every month we have a lot of turbulence on the payroll. What I mean turbulence, for example, January we had about 68 maybe persons that left the payroll as a result of either the dead, the retired, the resigned, or absconded. And this is freely given information, right? There's no way to validate this. So there's a need to make sure this payroll is accurate all the time. So that's why we're doing this verification. And recall that 2 years ago, I think, His Excellency authorized verification before, the minimum wage is implemented. And recall that, the Commissioner for Finance, threw some number that we staff that were unfound. So there's a need to make sure that the data on the payroll is up to date and always valid. That's why we've asked you to do this. And again, recall that previously you needed to visit some agency with a form, you had to go through drama, to get this done. Now we're bringing it to your palms, in your devices. So please log in. Once you log in, you see a pop-up, on your accounts, and it will ask you to confirm your need, then impute your BVN. Why are we asking for BVN? If you recall that the last experience we had a lot of names mismatched, but with the BVN, our system can automatically check if your need is not correct, your BVN is going to be correct. And judging from the pension verification, we found out that for pensioners, we're using BVN, not lien. We found out that the BVN is so closely matched to people's bank accounts and high rate of successes. So if your names are not correct, your BVN is going to be correct. So we use it of them, to pass you, which we think is great. And what His Excellency has also done, has approved and authorized, that every MDA would have at least one self-service computer installed. We've gone far, including local government. So if you don't have a smartphone, you just don't need to panic. Just visit each of your MDA. And we have program analysts, from our ministry, who is posted to your ministry that is there to support you to make sure this process goes, smoothly. So that's good information. I think, we wanted to add. The plan is we should probably do this. It's a quarterly type program, so you would have 60 days. So there's no panic. You don't have to do that today. But 60 days you must complete this verification so that you can remain active on the payroll. If after 60 days you're unable to, automatically the payroll will suspend you. So as you can imagine, you won't be paid. Do the maths. Perhaps end of May you will not be paid. And in that case, you would have to approach our office and do a verification. And then after 3 months you still don't do it, then we'd have to knock you off the payroll. For you to come back on, you have to go through the office of the head of civil service and do a reinstatement. So please, I encourage everyone, please, let's do it. We'll try and do some media work and make sure everybody's fully aware, but it's not difficult. It's not difficult. Straightforward to the point. This way we can make sure the payroll is up to date, accurate, and only have active and living staff. That's the plan, and that's the information I would like to share at the moment. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Commissioner for Science and Digital Economy, for that expose on the overview on the TSA, the rules, and of course the funneling of all the state revenues to one pot, to a pot note, to a pot. That is very, very important. Yep. And of course the payroll reforms And I think this is important. I think we will step up the education to ensure that our public servants know what they should do. So thank you so much. Do we have any questions on the TSA? Because the administrators are here to help. Yes, please. And any other area that you want clearance on ICT, on any of the portals, whether it's procurement, employment, anyone that you have, just feel free to ask the questions now so he give you the clarifications. Thank you.
Good morning, Honorable Commissioner. And I want to know what are the challenges. There must be one or two challenges in the implementation of the TSA. So I'd like to know if we're encountering any challenges maybe on the part of the MDS written or from the government written on their part. Their part is sent back to the members.
Great question.
Any other question? Thank you.
Right, thank you so much. Really good questions. As you can imagine, I mean, we're normally, this is brand new, right? Brand new in the context of how we, report revenue and pay for it. So as you can imagine, it's just about drumming this message so that everybody will understand and come on board. But the challenges, you would say, are not what we did not anticipate, as you can imagine. For example, if you go to an hospital, those were our pain points, at the time. And that's why we had to train them directly. We had to get them devices. We had to get them POS. Why do I say that? Your typical cashier in the hospital doesn't have to be a techie or someone that understands anything computers. But we really, have to train them, and took them through the process, send a team to go to each hospital, support them. But as we speak now, every day we get thousands and thousands of volumes of transaction from the hospital. So we think we've surpassed that. So if I was to answer your question, I would say just getting people to change the way they do things, as you can imagine, the standard. But just keep drumming the message and support and support and support and support. But for the big ministry, for example, Ministry of Lands, we're seeing a lot of payment on TS. I mean, huge payment. Internal revenue, this is their bread and butter. So they're doing really, really great, So we don't think there's been any problem. I think for me, it's just if I can perhaps appeal to you guys, you have different forums and platforms, if you can just keep, saying the same thing again and again and again so that everybody will understand. But I can imagine, and perhaps something I should add, is the vision of His Excellency that, maybe every month, or even on the Akwa Ibom platform, we should have a dialer there or some widget that as money is being generated, you can see real time. There's nothing to hide there, right? So that Akwa Ibomers can see, the value of, what their revenue is, real time. As an hospital is paying for paracetamol, it ticks up here, and all that. So we think we can achieve that. That's the vision. So we think we can do that. But as you can imagine, we are doing everything to bring everybody on board. And what is even fantastic, the Commissioner for Health, for example, would have a supervisory type role. They can see all the hospitals and what they're doing. The Permanent Secretary, the same thing. The Internal Revenue will see all the state and can query ministry by ministry. The governor likewise. So I think this is a big game changer. And what I did not say, each of the hospitals, I keep using hospital, but this applies to everybody. Each of the hospitals know exactly what they're generating real time. They know what they are contributing to the pot, if I could say that. I think that empowers and emboldens them to want to do more. So I think this is all great. And why I still have the floor, because it's not that common to get everybody that is so important in the media space in one room. And thank you so much, Commissioner, sir. Can I also mention a program we're just starting? If you notice, this governor, His Excellency, has done a lot in terms of infrastructure. Yesterday I mentioned 1,200 kilometers of roads being constructed, buildings, there are youth-friendly centers, the command and control. I mean, you can keep naming it and keep naming it. And now, he told me this, and this is very clear. We need to start the soft development of our youths. We need to give our youths lifelong training they can move forward. And very recently, he approved what we call a RISE Tech Accelerator Program. And this is available on the employment portal. If you know any young man, you don't have to be a geek, you don't have to be a tech man, but if you like computing, if you like, to learn something, please go online to employment portal and register. The kind of training we're doing there will cut across web development, data analysis, e-marketing, I mean, all sorts. But it's going to be hands-on, I can tell you that, 3 months. I know a lot of people come into town and do a 2-day program, 3-day program. I really question this sort of training, because how would someone learn in 3 days, in 4 days, in 5 days? That's why we've done this 3 months. And what we've not told them, yes, we've told them the government will pay for their certification, I mean industry standard certification. But what we've not told them is, if, for example, every cohort we take 60 persons, we will take the best 30 and pay for the certification because we want it to be competitive. You know, it's going to be very, very competitive. I want people that can help the government. I really do. I need people that are going in the tech space. And every now and then I get requests from my colleagues, from people, I need this person, but we just don't have them. So it's now become the time, you know, that we start to do, you know, develop the skills. So if you have anyone, please encourage them. You don't have to even graduate. Even undergraduate can do it. You know, but we really, is the desire of the government that we start to train our young people. We call these a Rise Tech Talent Accelerator Program. And I should also say that the plan for this program, it has come to stay. This program will run in all the youth-friendly centers when they're all initiated. So this is, we're just using this to, if you like, to start it in the ministry. And obviously, when the different youth centers are ready, we will migrate them so they will run simultaneously across the different local government. So I thought I should mention that. Please go to the employment portal, you know, and apply. You will see that there are about five roles, you know, in each of those fields: Flutter web development, data analytics, visualization, e-marketing, and all sorts. So choose anyone. Ask your people to choose anyone, and then come on board. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Honorable Commissioner for Science and Digital Economy, particularly that exposure on the Rise Tech Talent Accelerator Program, because a lot of our youth are interested in this program. So the Akwa Ibom people, all our youth, please log on to the employment portal and register for this. Thank you so much. We will now move to the Honorable Commissioner for Health, and that will be the last briefing for today, making up the 4 ministries and departments that were on schedule. So, Honorable Commissioner for Health, and please, gentlemen of the press, I hope you are ready. I yield.
Good morning to everyone, especially gentlemen of the front estate of the realm. I'd like to recognize very especially the convener of this meeting, the Honorable Commissioner for Information, my brother and friend, Dr. Aneka Nomana. Let me also recognize another very dear brother and colleague in the Executive Council, Dr. Frank Ekbayo. We're really proud of the innovations that he's bringing on board and his interventions cut across all of the ministries, and so it makes our job easier. I recognize the Permanent Secretary SSA to the Governor and SSAs. Actually, I can see 2 of them, SAs, and all the media persons here. I understand the UJ chair is also represented by the State Secretary. Thank you for having me and inviting me to join this interactive session. I'll just highlight a few of the things. You know, the Ministry of Health is quite broad. It's quite broad. I jocularly tell my permanent secretary every day that in this ministry, wahala no dey finish. You can't take a break, really. You can't say, I want to take 2 weeks off. It's not going to happen because it's about human lives. It's about everyday interaction. It's 2 persons interfacing to solve problems. And so long as it is human interactions, there is bound to be some level of disagreement, some level of satisfaction and dissatisfaction. And as policymakers, our role is to always step in and resolve all of that. But just a few days back, we were 1 year in office, and I guess my task would be to speak to what has happened within the ministry in the last 1 year. I wager I may not be able to remember every of the issues, but I'll highlight some of the prominent things that I think are significant. And should you find anything outstanding that I may not have touched on, please feel free to draw my attention and or oblige you all of the response that I may have within me. Firstly, let's talk about medical education and staff training. So, in terms of medical education or staff training, the College of Nursing Sciences was without accreditation, and there are challenges with indexing. By God's grace, within the last 12 months, we've been able to resolve that. Over 200 students who were unable to graduate because of indexing issue, that has been resolved, and I think that they may have graduated or they're online to graduate. I mean, there's nothing stopping them, provided they pass their exams, they should graduate, and so we do not have that challenge. Those are two issues that existed at the College of Nursing that, through the help of His Excellency, the Governor, will be able to resolve. And you would also agree that when His Excellency, the Governor, was campaigning, he had spoken about his interest in ensuring that Akwa Ibom state hospitals have medical consultants. I don't think we had too many of them, and so we're doing what every sensible government should do: train your own consultants. So a lot of people who were employed as medical officers have now been sent for residency training, and the governor continues to cover their salaries as support for that training. And on top of that, every year he pays them 1 million naira training support grants. Just 2 weeks ago, the governor paid another tranche of the 1 million to all doctors within the Akwa Ibom State civil service undergoing residency training. The National Association of Government General Medical and Dental Practitioners released a press statement to that effect. The Akwa Ibom State Association of Resident Doctors also released a press statement to that effect. So in case you missed it, if you just do a little Google search, you'll be able to confirm that fact. We're also doing our house officers training that has been suspended for years. As I speak, following the intervention of His Excellency the Governor, house officers have been employed. They've picked up their employment letters and they're doing documentation to resume at our 3 group reference hospitals. For the first time after 21 years, we've resumed pharmacy internship. And so the pharmacy interns have also picked up their employment letter, and they are doing documentation. They'll soon be posted to the various hospitals. In the year under review, we had 19 capacity building workshops and trainings for staff. I repeat, 19 capacity building workshops for training and staff, more than 1.5 every month. And you know that for every single training, it's a lot of investment. So we thank His Excellency for making funds available, and also thank our development partners, particularly FHI 360 and ECUS, and all of the other partners who have supported us to do this training. Still under medical education and training, at the School of Health Technology, the government was able to establish a computer-based testing center. Everyone realizes that every form of education is now IT-based and IT-compliant, so that's the way to go. In terms of new policies, during the year under review, we are able to craft 5 new policy documents that are essential to the running of the health sector. We revised the essential medicines list. The last time that was done was in 2012, and under Governor Moino, we've been able to tick that. We've also done the multi-hazard risk assessments, and if you know what that is, it is multi-sectoral, it's not just health. So it was done in conjunction with the Ministry of Agri, the Ministry of Environment, and the Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation. You know that our work in the health sector also cut across the environment, the agri. For example, you talk about zoonotic diseases. Those diseases are animal based. So you must understand how this works. And the world is now talking about One Health. We're talking about animal health, human health, environmental health. That informs that collaboration. And Akwa Ibom is one of the first 3 states to have these documents ready. We've also had the state's plan on climate and health ready. Again, Akwa Ibom is one of the first 2 states to have an action plan ready for this. During the year under review, we also crafted the epidemic preparedness and response plan, and we've also brought to bear our HIV workplace policy. I mean, people have diabetes, mellitus, people have hypertension, and they go to work. They're not discriminated against. There's no reason why anyone should suffer discrimination just because the person suffers from HIV. We now know, science has proven, that having HIV is just like having any other kind of chronic disease. And so it's important that we protect our people so people do not continue to live in denial. So, and in 2025, we had 2 new establishments. We established the Office of the Health Ombudsman. And those of you in the media space understand the role of the Ombudsman. Serves as our own public complaints unit. And within the first 4 months, that establishment was done in September. And by December, we had 167 calls, complaints. The thinking behind this, the governor wants public service to be accessible. So someone goes to the hospital, is not satisfied with the service. There must be an avenue where that person can provide feedback or even make a formal complaint and seek restitution. So we have that in place now, and that is why we keep emphasizing that we would no longer accept people going to our health facilities to create content. Health facilities are sanctuaries of hope. People are ill, people are in debilitating states, and just because your own relative is dissatisfied, you begin to video every other person within that facility. Hell no, your rights stops where the other person's own starts. And we have a duty to protect you, but we also have a duty to protect all of the other patients and our staff. And again, we say no to bullying of health workers. I mean, I have something in my phone which I saw overseas. It's clearly stated in the hospital. Please know it is unacceptable to bully our healthcare professionals. You would be charged to court. I mean, this is in the UK. As personal physician to governor, I had the privilege to take a couple of senior citizens outside for care that could not be gotten in Nigeria. And it's clearly stated, you don't go to a hospital to fight a doctor and a nurse and then you walk away. That job requires motivation. When you demoralize them, you still expect them to make decisions that border on the life of the next patient. Meanwhile, you've destabilized them, you've taken away your own relative, and then you now leave them to be in an improper state of mind to take care of other person's relatives. We're not going to let that happen. At least I have the backing of His Excellency on this, and while I am here, if we find anybody and we are able to trace and arrest you, we will prosecute. Because we've created avenues for people to seek restitution. And there is not a single complaint that has come that we did not attend to. I believe that public servants must make themselves available at all times. And those who have been to my office know that so long as you have the patient to wait, I would see even the last person, even if it is 11 p.m. So there is therefore absolutely no reason why anybody should break the law in the quest for self-defense. So we've done that. During the year under review, His Excellency brought together one of the most popular innovations in the health system, the establishment of the Akwa Ibom State Emergency Medical Services and Ambulance System. We're extremely proud of that agency and what it has achieved. We now see that the dreams that we had for our state, that there could be accidents and ambulance services would appear within minutes and evacuate victims has come to bear. And we're very proud of the work that those staffers do at AkiSemSAS. And I can tell you that as at December 31st, 2025, they have attended, between March and December, they've attended to 2,507 emergencies and did 708 transport emergency evacuations to hospitals, while they stabilized 1,799 patients on site. We are extremely proud. They are a new agency. There may be teething problems, but they have exceeded our initial goals and expectations. For the health insurance agency, last year, the agency won the fastest growing health insurance agency in Nigeria. We're proud of that achievement, and that's because under 1 year, they were able to enroll over 170,000 lives, with 110,000 of those coming from the formal sector. That means we're making inroads into the informal sector. But it's not just about enrollment. Of these numbers who have enrolled, 126,000 persons consulted their doctors at no cost whatsoever. 126,000 different individuals in this state. And then we had, from this service, 1,106 surgeries, of which 489 of them were cesarean sections, making critical interventions that are keeping our women alive. And you know that one challenge Nigeria faces is that of maternal mortality. So this is very critical for us. And still, for the health insurance agency, we had 1,012 vaginal deliveries, newborn babies. The interesting thing about these statistics is that we do not have any report of mortality for these women who were insured at that point. I stand to be corrected, but at least none has come to my office. And then, again, the insurance service is helping our primary health centers begin to work. We had 8,200 referrals from primary health centers to secondary health facilities. But are they without challenges? No. Within the period under review, 2,986 persons complained that they were not satisfied with the service. That's 2.37% of all those who assessed care. What is our goal? Our goal is to reduce that rate of complaints to perhaps under 1%. But still, when you look at our environment and our context, any service that is meeting 97% satisfaction rate is not a bad service, and we're proud of that. To round off, I'll talk about the Hospitals Management Board. What we're doing in terms of our reforms, the state of emergency in health, is showing that people are beginning to have confidence in the health sector. In 2023, we had a total of 63,000 patient visits in all of our general hospitals, minus the primary health centers. In 2024, that improved very slightly to 68,000. But in 2025, we had a 699% increase in hospital attendance in our secondary health facilities, moving up to 481,364 from 60-something thousand. So it shows that we're winning with what we're doing. And the mortality rate, because we find that people dramatize the fact that lives are lost. There is nobody who should die. I don't want to die. I don't want you to die. I don't want anybody to die. But we must come to terms with the fact that death is the inevitable end for all mortals. And my professor of orthopedics used to say, what better place is there to die other than a hospital, which at least shows that you made an attempt to live. But let me say that of the 480-something thousand persons who visited, we had a mortality rate of 0.1%, less than 1%. So where is the noise and the hula baloo about? everywhere in the world, people die in hospitals. But when we find anybody die an avoidable death, we take action. Under Governor Moino, what has come to the public service is accountability. Last year, we had nurses and doctors demoted because we queried their dedication and commitment. We had a doctor dismissed from the service because she wasn't at her duty post. Now, as commissioner, what I'll tell gentlemen of the press up front is that I do not have the capacity, the omnipresent nature to be in 520 health facilities at the same time. And it really is not necessary, because even if you are in a facility, you can't be at all the units at the same time. But what is there is that Governor Moino has set a structure of accountability. Where there is a complaint, please use the Health Ombudsman Office, call the public complaints lines. As we speak now, if you Google Akwa Ibom State Ministry of Health public complaints lines, you see the numbers. So we've made these things very easy for everyone. Just Google it now. The numbers will pop up. And then you can store those numbers. And we use this opportunity to say, please store the Akisem SAS numbers. Like I tell people, save those numbers. They may save you or your relative. I want to thank you. One area that we're also improving, but we're not where we should be, is immunization. At some point, our Penta 3 figures were hovering around 43%. But last year, we were able to move it to 77% coverage, and then OPV vaccine to 76% coverage. Our goal this year is we should be able to do above 90%, because our children deserve to be vaccinated. But we have challenges. We just did the measles rubella vaccination campaign that has just been introduced into Nigeria. Thankfully, Akwa Ibom was able to meet 100% of the target coverage. But we have challenges. We have religious organizations that will lock schools and refuse government staffers access to schools that are regulated by the government. And you would find that if the government decides to act, everybody will just start complaining, why will the government do this, why will the government do that? But when you deny those children the opportunity to be immunized and vaccinated, you create the possibility of a disease outbreak that those religious bodies will contribute nothing towards their containment. And when it comes, the backlash is on the government. Oh, the government has not done anything. We have outbreak of cholera. We have outbreak of this. But when the government is taking preemptive measures, you now have certain religious bodies standing as barriers, or choose not to mention names because I've elected to engage with the reverend gentlemen and bishops and all of that privately, hoping that that would give them some level of education that will prevent this kind of things. But having invested heavily into this campaign, as Commissioner for Health, who has a responsibility before God and Akwa Ibom people to ensure our children are safe, I am not happy that we still have these kind of things. I know some of you would ask the question about the state of emergency. That is ongoing. We've just completed evaluation. One of the challenges that we encountered after we did the declaration, we found out that many of those hospitals are 40, 30 years. You can't even find their drawings. So we needed to go survey the entire hospitals, do the drawings, and then it's just been costed now, and any moment from now you would see. But in some of the health facilities, work is already ongoing. Some of the primary health centers, those ones are smaller facilities that you can sort out within time. Work is already ongoing, and we'll have a lot that will be commissioning in the coming months. We have more than 5 primary health centers ready for commissioning, which will be taken on very soon, and the general hospitals would also start. In terms of, as part of that state of emergency, one of the very first things the governor did was to review the welfare of healthcare workers and incentivize them. I'm sure that you've not been seeing on Facebook people talking about it again. because they are quietly taking their pay. And I'm happy for everyone. I believe that it is the right thing to do, and the governor has done that. Today in this country, when you take all of the different health salary scales, Akwa Ibom State pays their doctors at least 40% more than what the federal salary scale pays their own doctors. And then when you look at all the other health workers, Akwa Ibom pays between 30 and 40% what their counterparts, grade level for grade level, step for step, would earn in the federal service. And you see, we have, all thanks to the kind of leader we have, who says a thing and follows through on that. That makes my own job easier, because now, when people play through and see, in good conscience, you can hold them to provide accountability, because you know their welfare has been taken care of and they do not have any reason to do what they are doing. As I speak, you can find time as gentlemen of the press, engage with the CMD Ibom Specialist Hospital. I'm sure it would allow you access. We have 120 slice CT scan installed already, functional at the Ibom Specialist Hospital. And that did not used to happen. At a point, we had only one CT scan in this entire state. If it is shut down for maintenance and there was need for CT, people would have to travel to Calabar, travel to Port Harcourt, travel to Imo State. It was a very sad situation. Now we have 3 in Akwa Ibom, and we're very proud of that. As part of the response of the governor in the state of emergency, we've paid for an MRI 1.5 Tesla. You can Google that, and it is helium free. It's going to be the first helium free technology 1.5 MRI Tesla in the country from Siemens, Germany. And we're expecting it to arrive any moment from now. Now, you may not understand, but medical practitioners would understand the emphasis on helium-free technology. The challenge with the MRI machine is that it must not go off. Helium is a volatile gas, so when power supply goes off and the machine is off, the gas evaporates. And once the gas evaporates to a critical level, the machine shuts down. To fill that gas costs millions. Sometimes, depending on the volume that is filled, you would have to pay hundreds of millions to fill the gas and kickstart the machine for use. But with the latest helium-free technology, and considering our own peculiar situation in Africa, where power supply is still a challenge, you see that the government is thinking steps ahead. It's not just about getting this machine, but about sustainability. And I thank His Excellency the Governor for listening to professional suggestions. So we have a governor that is committed to going for the best for the people of Akwa Ibom. If there are other things I have left out, we'll take that during the interactions, the international hospital and all of the question. But let me just speak about the international hospital. When the governor talked about tourism and then a medical component of tourism, which is the medical village, we had a lot of misrepresentation. Ibom Specialist Hospital has been abandoned and all of that. Pray, how do you abandon a hospital and you are buying machines for that hospital? Last year, we supplied ICU beds to Ibom Specialist Hospital. Top of the range ICU beds. This January, we've just supplied a CT scan machine. Google the price. It's sold in dollars. Then how do you abandon a facility and you're making that investment? And I assured gentlemen of the press last year that the way to predict the future is to examine past behavior. You have a governor who is building all of the abandoned projects, the Tropicana Hotel and all of the other projects that has been abandoned. He's completing them for state use, believing that those investments were done with Akwa Ibom state money and should not be left to rot. So how then, in his own time, will he now abandon an Ibom specialist hospital that is actually functional? You see, so please, gentlemen of the press, I break this down in explanation because when you see some of these things come up, I want us to be able to distinguish between opposition, political blackmail, and objective inquiry into governance. And when we find opposition, political blackmail, as Honorable Commissioner, I ignore completely, because I know that no level of explanation will assuage those fueling that discussion. But when we find genuine inquiry into governance, please call me 2 a.m. I'll be responding to you. Let me reassure, Ibom Specialist Hospital is a work in progress. It forms part of the medical corridor, what in the future we hope to call the Ibom Medical City. A complete range of facility with the International Hospital, the Advanced Diagnostic Center, the Medical Village Housing, and then the Senior Citizen Center, which will be commissioned this week, and all of the other infrastructure that will be there, including pharmaceutical manufacturing company. Just last week, at the prayer meeting, the governor announced about the fact that there is going to be a pharmaceutical manufacturing. And I kid you not, last week alone, I got 2 calls, one from America, the other from India, and they want to come and be a part of the pharmaceutical manufacturing park. So you see the vision of the governor. This is a governor who has x-rayed the landscape, and he realizes that we all buy our medicines from Lagos and Ogun. There is not a single pharmaceutical manufacturing company within South Nigeria. Pray, why should Akwa Ibom not tap into that opportunity that is waiting? You already have 6 states, and maybe those in the Southeast as your markets. And that is where we're headed to. I thank you, and I say God bless you.
Thank you so much, the Honorable Commissioner for Health, for that very detailed expose. We appreciate that. And he did warn that the health ministry is vast, and he has done justice to that very vast sector within the few minutes that he had to make his presentation. Very quickly, before we take questions that are related to health, we got some questions coming in online, and somebody did ask us, this statistics on hospital enrollment for 2025 not speak to the state of health of the people of Akwa Ibom State. And I can, without even being a medical doctor, I can say that it's on the positive side. I'm sure Doctor will explain that, because he also gave the statistics as to the mortality rate standing at 0.1. So which means people have access to health care, and that's why the number is increasing. People have access through the health insurance from the numbers that we are seeing. So I believe and know that it is access to healthcare. People are now craving for healthcare. They are craving to be sure that they are checked. He will shed more light on that. But from a basic standpoint, I just needed to answer that. And someone also asked another question, asking on the visit of the mother of the nation, Her Excellency Senator Oluremi Tinubu, to the state. For what purpose? And we said that at the beginning. The Commissioner for Women Affairs did say that. And she will be here to be the special guest of honor at the International Women's Day celebration, for where Akwa Ibom women will converge at Uyo Township Stadium to complete their sensitization tour across the 31 local government area. She will be the special guest of honor, and she will be commissioning. She's coming on the first official state visit and will be commissioning the Senior Citizens Center at the Medical Corridor, which is a conurbation of pharmacy, health center, it has a recreational center, it has lounges, it has halls, it has training centers, it has almost every kitchenette, everything you can think about that can give life some meaning, and that is including an orchard for walking around and feeling good and happy. So it's a comprehensive and multifaceted facility that will add more impetus to livelihood in old age. those are the things she's coming to do in Akwa Ibom State. And we'll be honored as a state, like His Excellency, the governor did announce last night, to play host to Nigeria First Lady on her first official visit to Akwa Ibom State. So, Doctor, we thank you so much. We'll take a few questions to wrap up this session and close to the February briefing holding on the 2nd of March. Thank you. Questions, please. Yeah. Okay. Econo first, then the lady next. Thank you.
I don't know if I can take all my questions.
Please take all your questions at once so that those concerned will answer them and we'll move on.
Honorable Commissioner of Health, you mentioned something that triggered something in me. There's this trend when you mention HIV and vaccination. We know that Akwa Ibom State, the prevalence rate of HIV in Akwa Ibom State is very high. And there's a new trend now. There's this treatment two-dose treatment to prevent HIV. It's actually costly, but it has come into the country from what I've gathered. So I want to ask, has the Akwa Ibom State government keyed into that program to help the situation in the state?
Yeah. Next question.
They
will take two.
My next question goes to you, Honorable Commissioner for Information. We were here about 2 weeks or so ago concerning the oil well issue, and the Akwa Ibom defense was based on the Supreme Court judgment, while the position of Cross River State was based on, according to them, scientific evidence about where the coordinates are located. And now the report has come from the Interagency Technical Committee. And I want to read the report here. It says, sources close to the verification process maintain that Cross River's geological evidence was compelling, empirical, and beyond reasonable doubt. And the report we have is that 114 oil wells have been seeded to Cross River State. 114 oil wells have been seeded to Cross River State based on the report of the IETC. What is the state government doing concerning this? And lastly, what's the state of the AKBC project?
Asking the source of the report he quoted.
I know the report. I know it. I have the report. Okay, thank you. The last question, so we can wrap everything up at once. Thank you.
Good morning,
your name?
Commissioners. My name is Kufre Emmanuel, AKBC Radio. My question goes to the Honorable Commissioner for Health. I first want to commend your ministry. The report from the last organization on measles and rubella virus was really commendable from pillars. Everything went on as it should be. But my worry now is on the issue of health insurance schemes. Most parents are complaining that there are no pediatricians in the designated hospitals to handle children-related issues. Please, what's the ministry doing in that direction? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me very quickly take the general ones and then allow the Honorable Commissioner for Health wrap up on the healthcare sector. First is, let me start from the simplest, the status of the AKBC project. I want to say to you clearly that the project is on course. One, everything concerning the technical input, equipment, procurement, studios, and all of those are on course. That was already awarded to Media Guru International. So that is on course. Procurement is on board. We're getting all of the updates. We've seen all of the studios. It's been reviewed. And so on top notch, I can say to you, I can tell you that it's the best that any state broadcast organ can have in this country is what is coming, and that is on course. Regarding the building, the final drawings and they were made, and all of the final submissions have been made. The bill of quantities have been reviewed in line with the procurement processes of the state at the moment to compare and get the right cost for it. The site has been cleared and set out, and of course recently His Excellency had asked for some modifications in the access to dualize the access road to that complex that houses just more than the AKBC structure, including the Akwa GIS, the Governor's Office Annex, the Security and Command Center, and all of the buildings within that conurbation. They are there, so that road is being dualized, and the actual construction will soon start once the costing, the procurement process is completed, because His Excellency the Governor, Pastor Mono, is very strict on this. It does not matter what you submit, it must go through the in-house procurement checks and bill of quantities check to ensure that the right pricing is gotten for the state. That is where we are. There's nothing wrong with the project. It's going on properly and safely. Now, on the oil wells issue, you raised the issue, you said that we are basing our defense on the Supreme Court judgment, and the other people are basing theirs on geological coordinates settings. But let me say to you, there's no way to base any argument that can be higher than the Supreme Court judgment on two occasions, in 2005 and in 2012. All two judgments made it favored Akwa Ibom State in terms of ownership of oil wells, whether it's 76 or 248 or whatever so-called, they all lie within the maritime territory of Akwa Ibom State. Let me also tell you about the IATC, the Interagency Technical Committee report. I'm aware, I have read the report, I have seen it. It's a draft report that an interagency committee submitted to RAMFAC, and the chairman of RAMFAC had issued a press statement making it clear that that is not a final report, that is a draft from the committee. And of course, the draft report was premature because those who conceived and spewed that report did it for whatever reasons they know, because at the plenary, which I was in, and you had the Attorney General speak to it the last time, the plenary ended abruptly because they tried introducing a map that was discarded, a map of 2004, a skewed map, which was during the pendency of the handover of Bakassi before Nigeria-Cameroon boundary was then redelineated and then hemmed in our sister state, Cross River State. So that was not allowed. I remember a point of order was raised by the immediate past Surveyor General of the state, Mrs. Emenisa, that we cannot listen to that because that will mean challenging the Supreme Court. Because all of the National Boundary Commission, Office of the Surveyor General of the Federation, and all of that had determined all these issues at that time. And of course, the Supreme Court had ruled on this issue on the extra-land boundaries on two occasions. Nothing can be stronger than that. And if you listen to His Excellency the Governor last time when he spoke, he said that there is no agency, there is no department of government, no office can question or discard the judgment of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. That is established. But let me also say to you, whether on technical, geographical, or whatever consideration that you may use, the maritime boundary of where Akwa Ibom is faces is with Cameroon, not with Cross River. So even if the technical people will say to you that even if Bakassi was not even handed over to the Cameroons, that the maritime, where all those oil wells are within the extra-land boundaries of Akwa Ibom with the Cameroons, as it were today. So I want to reassure you, like His Excellency did, that there's no cause for alarm. This matter is being handled and looked at very carefully in the interest of Akwa Ibom State. So we shouldn't be too worried or say the things we don't understand about these issues, because this is about the wealth of the state. And His Excellency the Governor is very committed to this. And I think that is the much I can say on this, so just be rest assured. From any point, from any way you look at it, Akwa Ibom is safe on this matter. I want to thank you for raising these issues. I will yield to the Honorable Commissioner for her to give a rapport on the question asked. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me, just before I respond to the question, also say something a very significant achievement that I did not mention. In 2024, there was, I think, 24, 23, there was a baseline assessment of all primary health centers across the country. And they were checking for two things. One, level 2 primary health centers. That's the minimum required level as at today by WHO. What it means is that you have the health facilities, you have infrastructure, and then you have accommodation, then you have skilled bed attendants, at least 4. And then they also assessed facilities who have skilled bed attendants. You know, it's not everybody you see that takes delivery that is actually licensed to take delivery. So it's very important because we know the role of personnel towards preventing maternal mortality. When that baseline was done, Akwa Ibom had only 29 L2 primary healthcare centers. And you can look at the screen, as that statistics is not from Akwa Ibom State Ministry of Health, it's from the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency. As at December 2025, we've moved from 29 L2 facilities to 109 L2 facilities. Why am I highlighting this? We are not where we would want to be, but there is evidence that we are making progress. And when you look at that table, you will see that Akwa Ibom had one of the largest leap in terms of where it was before and where it is now. What people always fail to realize that we are in a country where some states have 8 local governments and some have 31. And so naturally, by our size, we have more responsibilities. You have some of our sister states that command much more money than us. They have just 200 and something health facilities, primary health centers. Akwa Ibom has 468. So you now see that when they do an intervention, if someone who has 200 does intervention in 50, he has done 25%. But with your 468, if you do the same 50, it will not look like you've done anything because you will be falling around 10, 12%. It wouldn't look like you've done anything. So, but when you now look at, that's why data does not lie. When you look at this data and now say, oh, where were all the states of the Federation and where is Akwa Ibom in the last 1 year, you would be proud to be an Akwa Ibomite because there's a significant leap. If you also go to facilities that had the requisite number of skilled bed attendants, at the baseline, Akwa Ibom had 63. Today, Akwa Ibom has 173. So we've increased that by 110 more facilities within the last 1 year. But what is our goal? To cover the entire 468 facilities. What are we saying? Our people should be patient and supportive because we see them, we hear them, we feel them, and we're doing everything to make sure they have the best that is available within the system. Now, to the question on whether the statistics about the number of persons going to the hospital does not speak to the state of health of Akwa Ibomites. I mean, for a population of 7 million, 400 and something thousand is still small. That means our people still have poor health-seeking behavior. Because to the person asking the question, how many times do you take ill in 1 year? This is flesh and blood. So it is a natural thing. It is nothing to be ashamed of to take ill and visit your doctor. There is nothing to be ashamed of. It's the way of all mortals. Except you are so proud that you do not believe, you now believe that you are bigger than falling ill. Other than that, there is nothing wrong with that. And when a person takes ill, where should the person go? To the medical professionals, to the hospitals. But don't forget that this number that you're even complaining about would be more than this because you're only talking about visits to general hospitals. And by the time we had the statistics for primary health care, we should have up to 1 million visits when you add primary health care and private hospitals. One of the things that we'll be doing this year is that private hospitals were just waiting for our health reform laws, which is part of the state of emergency, to go to the House of Assembly. Private hospitals must be compelled, as it is done in Lagos, to provide us statistics. You cannot run a private hospital without regulation. It is one of the things that is wrong, and the governor is hell-bent on correcting it. So you give birth to a child in a private hospital, sometimes we don't even have that statistics. Somebody dies in a private hospital, we don't have that statistics. So how can we in good conscience calculate maternal mortality for the state? I'll give you an example. An exercise was done by the federal, and they did projection, and the maternal mortality was very high. And so in one of the quarterly dialogue with the Honorable Coordinating Minister of Health, commissioners raised that this death they are talking about, 500 women dying, we know they see them for where they work. Forgive me, let me just make this place a little test by using vernacular. It's not our everyday reality. So a committee was set up to come and check. My dear people of God, the committee came to Akwa Ibom. I speak for Akwa Ibom. The committee came to Akwa Ibom. Some of the facilities that reported death, when they got on ground, there was no death. Do you understand? And it also speaks to the fact that it is important to interrogate this data. It's important to interrogate, but if we do not have a means of collecting and analyzing our own data, then whatever is thrown at us, we would accept. So tomorrow when you hear that the Ministry of Health is enforcing that private facilities must come under regulation, again, people will go to town, but we are not bothered about such things. We are focused on our work, which we are doing in the best interest of all Akwa Ibomites. I would not be commissioner forever. Nobody would be commissioner forever. All three of us will leave at some point in time. But I want to live with the satisfaction that within the time God gave me the privilege to be here, through the benevolence of His Excellency the Governor, I applied my head, my heart, and my mind to the job. And I gave the best that I could. And so we're not bothered about all of those speculations. The high prevalence of HIV has been there for a while, and let me tell you why it is a good thing. If HIV prevalence was done and your state was 5% or 4%, and they come back in 2 years and it is now 1%, to the uninitiated, you would celebrate that, this thing has come down. But to the medical professional, we will not eat. Because it means that everybody, prevalence is who has this disease compared to the general population. So if there is a drastic drop, it means everybody who had the disease has died. And there is no reason why they should die for a disease that can be managed. So that accounts for why, when they talk about HIV prevalence, there is no drastic drop. There is a drop, but it is not a drastic drop, because that disease is not like any other chronic disease. So long as you take your tablets, you eat properly, and you do not expose yourself to unnecessary risk, you should be able to live like any other normal person in the society. So why then, just because we are scared of stigma, should we expect our brothers and sisters to die off? No, it's not something. So it's not a bad thing. As commissioner, I am not worried. And then talking about the medication that you're talking about, yes, clinical trials have been done. The medication initially was $39,000 per injection. We now hear that it has come down. But you see, where we're focused on is on prevention. Yes, it is a preventive medication, but you do not, as commissioner, I don't think my recommendation will be that Akwa Ibom should purchase a drug that is so expensive and begin to give to 7 million persons, as It's not going to work. If you calculate the cost of that drug by 7 million and 2 times a year, then you are probably approaching the entire state budget. For something that can be prevented by simple common sense, safe sexual practices, abstinence, the use of condom, and all of that, which is cheaper. So if, as commissioner, I took that memo to the ESCO, I would expect you as a journalist to the next moment begin to protest that this man does not care about the state. I will tell you up front, even if I'm not the one that takes it, anybody brings it up to ESCO, I will register my objection because it does not make any sense financially to the state. We have a governor who is trying his utmost best to be prudent with how he deploys his state resources, and those of us, his lieutenants and representatives in the various ministries, must think alike and say, come, what is the best path to achieving this with the least possible resources? That is efficiency. That is effectiveness. So that's about that. Now to the last question, pediatricians. Even in America, the first point of care is not the consultant. The first point of care, even in the UK, is not the consultant. The first point of care, even, you see, I have someone who is required to do a procedure. And even as Honorable Commissioner, for 2 weeks, I've been trying to contact a hospital to get the consultant to book a virtual appointment with that patient. It's been very difficult. In fact, I sent them a mail this morning that this patient has just contacted me, and this is a challenge. So we do not appreciate what we have in Nigeria. This is the country where you can walk into the hospital and just see a consultant walk in and go abroad and see whether that's how it runs. As we are praying to have an advanced health system, let me warn, the more advanced we get, the more regulated we will become. So if someone goes to the hospital and did not see a pediatrician, it is not something that anybody should panic about, because your first point of, for example, if a child needs immunization, why do you need a pediatrician? A trained nurse can handle that. A trained community health extension worker can handle that. But if a child really needs a consultant pediatrician to review, the attending healthcare professional will refer that child to a consultant. That someone is enrolled in health insurance does not mean that if I kick important things like hip replacement, not doctor, I kick my leg for ground. So I don't know whether I'm able to break this down satisfactorily. So thank you. God bless you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Honorable Commissioner for Health. I'm sure we will organize a proper seminar on health talks, so you will be able to have enough time to take the people through, particularly the medical journalists who are interested in healthcare sector, to have more education. We thank you so much for your effort and time this morning. I want to thank all the honorable commissioners who made it to this briefing today and all they have been able to put out for the knowledge of the media. So, and this format, I must say, it's the idea of His Excellency the Governor of Akwa Ibom State. He changed the format of our briefing to come in this way manner so that we will have the opportunity of having more commissioners and heads of different agencies be able to speak to the things happening directly, so they can give some technical input and shed more light on what's going on in their different departments. That's why you've seen this format. So this is the first in the series in this new format, and this will also be followed by the media chat by the governor, which will be quarterly at a higher level. So we want to thank you so much, and I'm sure this afternoon you've learned quite a lot from what has gone on, and we urge you to please take as much, we want to see as much report as possible from all that you have learned here today, and hope that this collaboration will continue to work for the betterment of Akwa Ibom State. For us, His Excellency Governor Omano has been the Man Friday of Akwa Ibom, doing the very best he can do to lift this state up. And without making comparisons, I can say clearly that this is one administration that has recorded so much successes in 33 months than anyone can say when you take comparative studies of what's going on in an entire country. And sometimes we tend to forget when we're talking about projects, health, education, we forget the human part. This is the only administration I have seen in Nigeria that has appointed ward PAs in all 369 wards in this country. It has never happened. It is one administration that has the highest number of media aides in Nigeria today. And I can say that this is a statistics that nobody can challenge because we are in a position to know. And so as we're looking at the brick and mortar development, we also must appreciate the human capital development aspect of His Excellency Governor Moenon. The Commissioner for Health has said how many capacity building and training programs he's done alone in the Ministry of Health in the last 33 months. And of course, you have also heard of the Youth Accelerator Program that's coming up to get all our chaps who are tech savvy or who are interested in tech or who are interested in the codes to be able to make them have a way of living their lives. We want to put all of this together and thank our leader and governor of Akwa Ibom State, and that is why I must conclude by saying Akwa Ibom people are craving for his return in 2027. I thank you so much and God bless you.
Bro. Oh, good.
Yeah. Thank you very much.